Steve Cohen's WTGL investment is easy to frame as another billionaire sports move, but the better story may be what sits behind it. Alexandra Cohen's quiet influence, the rise of women's sports, and a growing belief that women's golf is not a cause to support, it is a business to build. Social Capital, a different look at WTGLB Meredith Otero, as a born and raised Jersey girl, longtime golf industry professional, and admittedly loyal Mets fan, I've learned that some of the most interesting stories are not always the ones making the headlines. That was my first thought when news broke that Steve Cohen, through Cohen Private Ventures, had been announced as a founding team owner of New York's WTGL franchise. Most of the coverage focused on the obvious angle, a billionaire sports owner making another strategic investment. It is a headline-worthy move, especially considering Cohen's visibility as owner of the New York Mets and his reputation for identifying opportunities where others see uncertainty. But for those of us who spend our careers looking at the business side of sports, there may be a bigger story unfolding. That story is not necessarily Steve Cohen. It is what his investment represents, and perhaps who has helped shape the philosophy behind it. Enter Alexandra Cohen. To be clear, the WTGL announcement named Steve Cohen and Cohen Private Ventures as the ownership group. There is no public indication that Alexandra Cohen is directly involved in the team's ownership structure or operations. Still, anyone familiar with the Cohen family's work understands that Alex Cohen is far more than a supporting character. As co-owner of the New York Mets, president of the Amazing Mets Foundation, and president of the Stephen and Alexandra Cohen Foundation, she has become a respected leader in her own right. Her influence is most visible through philanthropy, community impact, and initiatives designed to expand access and opportunity. While she may not be the face of every investment, she has become an important part of how the Cohen family's broader vision is expressed. That is what makes this moment interesting. The launch of WTGL, created through a partnership between the LPGA and TMRW Sports, represents another significant investment in the future of women's golf. At its core, the league is designed to bring elite female athletes into a team-based format that introduces new audiences to the game while creating additional opportunities for players, sponsors, and fans. The athletes have always been there. The talent has never been the question. What women's golf has needed is sustained investment, increased visibility, and influential people willing to view the sport as a long-term growth opportunity rather than a short-term marketing initiative. That mindset appears to be changing. Across the sports landscape, investors are paying closer attention to women's sports than ever before. Attendance is rising, media coverage is expanding, sponsorship dollars are increasing. More importantly, decision makers are beginning to recognize that women's sports are not simply good causes to support. They are valuable businesses capable of generating meaningful returns and building loyal audiences. Golf is part of that evolution. For years, many of us inside the industry have understood the potential. We have watched participation grow, seen the strength of the LPGA product, and witnessed the passion that exists among women golfers and fans. The challenge has often been convincing investors and ownership groups to see the opportunity through the same lens. That is why announcements like this matter, not because another wealthy owner has entered the space, but because it signals growing confidence in the future of women's golf. It also highlights something that deserves more attention. The next generation of leaders shaping the golf industry will not all be players, instructors, or executives. Some will be owners, some will be investors, some will be philanthropists, some will be women helping influence where resources, partnerships, and opportunities are directed. That is where Alexandra Cohen becomes an interesting figure in the conversation. Her value to this story is not tied to a title on an ownership document. It is tied to what she represents. Across sports, business, and philanthropy, more women are helping shape the decisions that determine what gets funded, what gets promoted, and what gets built for the future. Much of that influence happens quietly. It happens in boardrooms, strategy sessions, philanthropic initiatives, and conversations that never make headlines. Yet those decisions often have a greater impact on the future of a sport than any single tournament result. Having spent nearly 2 decades working in and around the golf industry, I have seen firsthand how meaningful growth occurs. It rarely happens because of one major announcement. More often, it comes from a series of intentional decisions made by people who recognize potential before it becomes obvious to everyone else. The launch of WTGL feels like one of those moments. The players will ultimately determine the league's success. Fans will decide whether it becomes part of the sports landscape. Sponsors and media partners will help shape its reach. Behind all of those factors, however, Are people making decisions about where capital flows and which opportunities deserve support? Steve Cohen may be the headline today. The bigger story is that women's golf continues to attract influential investors, ownership groups, and leaders who believe in its future. And if the next chapter of women's golf is going to be built through investment, innovation, and long term growth, it is worth paying attention not only to the names on the press release, but also to the people helping shape the vision behind it. Sometimes the power behind the investment tells a more interesting story. Players Club Podcast, the Playbook Year 01 presented by Beehive, everything is coming into focus. Join Beehive Live on July 16th at 1 p.m. ET for a first look at the future of audience-led business. This isn't just another feature launch, though there will be plenty of those. It's a look at a more connected future for creators and brands that are tired of juggling disconnected tools, platforms, and data. If you care about building an audience online, this is worth your time. Reserve your spot. Insider Spotlight Meet. Corey Powell. Corey Powell is a former professional golfer and co-founder and CEO of Hubble.golf, a Scottsdale-based golf tech platform, simplifies tournament travel, scheduling, and community connection. With experience building the Outlaw Tour and competing professionally, Corey blends player insight, product strategy, and purpose-driven leadership to help golf become more connected. Meet Corey Powell, trending everywhere, what you missed career advisor, your dream job, account manager. Sun Mountain is hiring a strategic account manager to grow key golf retail partnerships, manage major accounts, and drive revenue across bags, apparel, carts, and accessories. Apply merchandiser if fashion, culture, and golf are your language. This opportunity belongs on your radar. Join one of the industry's fastest growing brands and help shape how the next generation experiences the game. Apply News. Alert, your weekly update. Before the Boom Private Club waitlists aren't just demand signals, they're early maps of where wealth, families, and future golf communities are quietly moving next. Learn more. Golf's new format tee sheets won't win golf's next boom. It'll be won by operators who build faster, more flexible, more social ways to play. Learn more. The Playbook Pay. It Forward Clubhouse helps golf courses boost F&B revenue through mobile ordering, GPS-triggered delivery, real-time analytics, and an improved on-course experience for modern players. Boost course revenue.